This is the podcast, Cristo Rey. It's almost Halloween, yeah, almost time for trick-or-treat. This is the podcast, Cristo Rey. Now it's time to sink your teeth into the podcast Halloween special.
Welcome to the Cristo Rey podcast Halloween special. It's the one and only Emily here. Not only am I one of your regular podcast hosts, but I'm also part of the Creative Writing Club. Today on the podcast, we present to you disturbing poems and creepy tales written by members of the Creative Writing Club, brought to life through the voices of all of your favorite hosts of the Cristo Rey podcast. We'll start with a story by yours truly. Listen if you dare. Having Memories in Eternity by Emily, class of 2024, read by the author. You're sprinting down the dimly lit hallway with green wallpaper and brown carpet. You hear the stomping of bigger feet running down the hallway trying to catch up to you. Time begins to pass, and then you see a small speck of something that isn't the green wallpaper or the brown carpet. While squinting, you notice it's a door at the end of the hallway. You start to speed up and smile, knowing that this was finally over. It was all over. The stomping behind you snaps you out of your euphoric state, and you're smashed back into reality. You start to question, how did you get here? Why are you here? What is this place? Everything starts to slowly come back to you. You remember it all as your feet carry you to the end of the hallway that is suffocating you with the green wallpaper and brown carpet. Your friends flood your memories. You ask yourself, do you really deserve this? Do you deserve to be free? After everything you did, maybe you should just stop moving. Let it catch up to you. You arrive to the door and you hesitate to open it. You fought hard to be here, but at what cost? Then you tell yourself, your friends would have wanted you to escape. After all, their sacrifice gave you your freedom. You open the door and step through. You fall and land a few feet down. You look up and see brown carpet and green wallpaper with writing on it now saying, "That's not all you did." Then more memories slowly come back as you begin your path again in the hallway with green wallpaper and brown carpets.
Poison by Lila, class of 2025, read by Icy.
I have built an ecosystem with plants and animals and friends, with a little pond for the fish, and a little cottage for my thoughts, and a little box for my heart. But you have poisoned the water, which poisoned the plants, which killed the animals, and now the cottage is overgrown with poisoned plants and dead animals, and my thoughts are poisoned with hating you, while my heart was once poisoned with loving you.
Hey guys, it's Jade. We hope you're enjoying the show. Today I have with me Mr. Carrillo, Miss O'Connell, and Miss Luffenschreilerhoff to talk about the Catholic connection to Halloween and the Day of the Dead.
Hey everyone.
Hey guys.
Hello. But first, Miss Luffenschreilerhoff, you used to be the freshman theology teacher. Now, even though you're not a theology teacher anymore, you still know your theology, right? Could you help explain the Catholic connection to Halloween?
Sure. So, to understand the Catholic connection to Halloween, we first have to look at the day after Halloween, which in the Catholic Church we call All Saints' Day. This is actually a really old holiday in the Catholic Church. It dates back to the 4th century as a way of honoring the martyrs in the Catholic Church, the people who died for their faith, and the people who we believe are already in heaven with God. But the day before that was referred to as All Hallows Eve. Hallow meaning holy people. And so it's the evening of the holy people, the day before we celebrate all the holy people who are in heaven with God. So as time has gone on, that is now referred to as Halloween.
Yeah, and to add on to that, we want to remember that when we die, Catholics believe that death is not actually the end. So all of the holy men and women who have come before us want us to join them in heaven. So they're cheering us on, they're praying for us. So when we celebrate Halloween, sometimes it's helpful to remember thousands and thousands and thousands of men and women who have lived on this earth, who have lived life and know how hard it is, are right there with us, cheering us on. Think of it like cheerleaders. So when we go to celebrate Halloween, it might be helpful to find someone who is like you, who you can relate to, that you can basically invite to be on your team or to be your cheerleader as we walk through life.
Okay, so, Mr. Carrillo, All Saints Day happens on November 1st, as well as the Day of the Dead. Can you tell us some information on the Day of the Dead?
Something that we have to remember with Day of the Dead, it's kind of like a respecting and a remembering of our ancestors who have passed on to the next life. And even though there might be some people who don't celebrate it, like myself, my family doesn't celebrate it, but it is a great importance of celebrating of culture and of remembering the people who have lived on before us and who live on after us. And so it's a great time to remember all the great memories that we've had with them and to really focus on memories.
Thank you all for saying those things and helping all of us understand the importance of the holidays surrounding Halloween. Okay, back to the show.
Wake Up by Ian, class of 2024, read by Jay Sean. A woman, one with a yellow dress and a red striped apron. Nostalgia slaps me in the face, yet she's unfamiliar. A woman that warms one's heart, a caretaker, a mother. Approaching me, she mutters 3 words. Why can't I hear them? A hug takes me by surprise, warming yet cold as ice. Wake up. Waking in my bed and covered with sheets, like a little boy scared of the monsters in the closet, approaching the mirror, misty sunken eyes. Why am I crying?
I'll Be There by Layla, class of 2024, read by Icy. Lay your dear head upon the cool silk pillow and let go of the dread brought by a wilted willow for when you close your eyes and drift off to sleep. I'll be there to hold you, so please don't you weep.
White Walls by ND, class of 2024, read by Liam. The blood running down the body, how magnificent. The blank eyes in the head, how magnificent. The thumping around me, how magnificent. The screams coming at me, how magnificent. His voice boomed off the white walls in the white room.
Hey, Miss Perlick.
Hey, Mr. Rose.
This is pretty scary, isn't it?
Sure is. But you want to know what's really scary?
What?
Bullying. October is National Bullying Prevention Month.
Here at Cristo Rey, we want to create a bully-free zone, but we need all of you to be active participants in ensuring everyone feels safe and welcome. We strive to uphold one of the most important lessons taught in the Bible. That is, to treat others as you wish to be treated. We all must be vigilant, so if you see something, say something. Don't stand by, take action. We are all in this together.
Perfect by ND, class of 2024, read by Nishan. Perfect. That's what every parent ever seems to want for their child. A perfect life, nothing that can bring them down. Curse other kids that mess with theirs. And that's exactly what Quinn got. His parents always there for his every need. He scored perfect on everything he ever did. His tests, his competitions, he could achieve anything and everything he ever wanted to achieve. He was perfect at everything. He was perfect, which also meant that he was the perfect villain. He got everything he could have ever desired. He didn't even need to try anymore. He was intelligent, quick, witty, and his parents were always on his side. No one else's, so no one else's mattered. In Quinn's mind, he was the only one that existed. Everyone else a simulation. How else would they be able to get anything less than perfect?
Do You Really Love Me? By Annalise, class of 2025, read by Jade. Do you really love me? If you had the option, would you choose me? If everyone else showed up, would it still be me? Maybe if you didn't, it would set me free. Free from those bonds that shackled me. Bonds that were built cheating on me. Cheating me out of what exactly? Cheating me out of the love I so desperately needed to meet. The love that shoulda, coulda, woulda made complete. The love that you promised me. In those hours I gave you, no, they weren't cheap. I want my time back, baby. I have the receipts. I could have sworn your love was sweet, but it turns out it was obsolete, considering the fact I was being replaced every other week. Why doesn't my love make you happy? It's not like I was slacking. You were my safe, baby. Now it's hacking. But your love was like a slime. It was entrapping. It kind of felt like a kidnapping. Maybe in a year or two we can be on that honeymoon. But instead, we'll be lying in that tomb with a headstone that reads, "Lovers that were doomed." Does that sound good to you? So again, I'm asking, do you really love me? Just say the word and baby, you'll be dead to me. Or lock my heart in the cage of your arms and throw away the key.
Hi, Jay Sean.
Hi, Nishan.
I'm feeling really freaked out right now because next week is the scariest day of the year.
You mean Halloween?
No way, that's easy. I'm talking about early admission deadline on November 1st.
We're here with Ms. Grassinger to get some advice.
Miss Grassinger, what is early admissions? Like, how does it work?
So, early action deadlines, which happen on November 1st, November 15th typically, and December 1st, are sort of a way to indicate that you are interested in a college and get your application in sooner than the regular decision deadline. The best part about early action, though, is that you get a decision before like April. So instead of waiting all of that time, you hear back a little bit sooner.
Just for the people who may get the early action and early decision cleared up, I know you explained what early action was. Could you explain a little bit about what early decision is?
Yeah, so early action with an A, right, is a non-binding way to indicate your interest and to get your application in early to different colleges. Early decision with a D is a binding contract. So you apply early and you're indicating your interest to that school early, but you're also saying, if I get into this college, I will attend. So most of the time with early decision, not only do you submit that application, but you also have to get a signature from perhaps a parent or guardian, and then a lot of times from me as well, because those schools really want to make sure that you understand what you're signing up for when you do an early decision application. My recommendation is always to do early action. Data shows that your chances of getting admitted to a college if you apply early action are higher. Plus, you still have some flexibility to consider your different options, look at financial aid before you make a decision. If you apply early decision, you don't have that luxury. You are just saying, I will go no matter what. So early action is the way to go. Early decision, it's best to talk with your college counselor first.
If I'm a student that has known since I was like 6 years old that Johns Hopkins was the school for me, and I visited and I loved it and everything about it, what do you think is the right course of action for me?
Well, I think the right course of action would be to talk to me, which you have, so that's good. What we did is we looked to see what the financial aid offerings of Johns Hopkins are, because traditionally that's my number one concern, is if you apply ED and you're admitted, will you be able to afford that college? Luckily, Johns Hopkins meets 100% of need, meaning if you need money to go to school, they will make sure that you have the money that you need to go to that school. So in that case, I say, let's put all of our eggs in the Johns Hopkins basket and let's go ED.
Could you list maybe some of the pros and cons of both so people can get maybe like a better perspective on both?
Yeah. So many schools who are, I don't even say highly selective anymore, but highly rejective. So your Harvards, your Yales, those really strong schools, they will have typically an ED option, an early decision binding option, but they won't have an early action option. So for many schools, it becomes a lot about strategy. So if you are really interested in one of those highly rejected schools, then we can talk about applying ED and have a good game plan for what that looks like and the benefits of doing it that way. And again, so if you're applying ED and you're getting accepted, then that's the school that you're going to. Hopefully it's one that you're really excited about, and it should be. And so that makes it easy. You're kind of done at that point. A con of that, though, is that you don't really know your financial aid situation unless we do a little bit of research beforehand, which is always why I want to know if you're considering ED so we can chat it out and make sure that we're all on the same page with that. There's really, in my opinion, not a lot of downside to early action. I would say the biggest con for early action is that it just puts more work on your plate earlier on in the process. So right now, you guys, our goal is to have about 10 to 12 colleges that you're applying to. If many of those colleges do early action, that means you have to have about 10 to 12 applications ready to go by November 1st, November 15th. That just might not be physically possible for you to have all of that work done. So then at that point, you need to prioritize which schools am I most excited about, because those are the schools that I want to apply early action because my chances are higher of getting into those schools.
Well, thank you, Ms. Grassinger, for all the information. I feel so much less stressed about college, so
thank you for really you just guiding us throughout our college journeys. It has been very stressful, and I can say with confidence that I know I'm not the only senior feeling like that, but thank you and for guiding us and making this college process more easier or less harder. And
Thank you guys for being awesome students and for putting in the really hard work that it takes to apply to college. I'm always so impressed with you all, and whatever you need, and this goes to everyone out there, whatever you need, Ms. Harper and I are there for you.
Thank you, Ms. Grassinger. Now back to some more spooky tales.
Murder by Annalise, class of 2025. Read by Vivian. Running barefoot through the snow, looking back behind my shoulder every couple of seconds, I feel my heart beating ferociously. The beating is echoing in my ears. My heavy panting could be heard from miles away. The sky is pitch black, and I can only see a few feet in front of me before the darkness consumes my vision. Every step feels like lead heavy with an immense feeling of dread. The twigs on the nearby branches scratch shallow cuts all over my skin. A burning sensation creeps up from my bare toes. I look down briefly to see the color of my skin fade to a reddish purple. After what seems like hours, I run out of the woods into the backyard of a middle-class house. I walk up the steps and bang on the door, pleading and begging to be let in. A concerned young woman opens the door. "Is everything okay? Do you need help?" she asked timidly. I lock eyes with her. A smile creeps up on my face.
This is To Think by Zandra, class of 2025, read by Paris. To think. To think of good or bad, worse or better, what might be good for you. To think you have came to this. To this it might be better. To think of the worst. To think of the terrifying. To think of multiple to put you down. To make you overwhelmed. To make you fear. To make you think. To think it can hurt. To think you tend to only think of the worst. Of this mind, society has created a view to overthink and continue. They tend to not care, but they want you to obey and listen, to fear and to hate. To think of what might be good or bad, right or wrong. They want you to dislike yourself. They want you to obey and be what they want you to be. They don't like imperfect people. They don't like those who don't obey. They don't like those who are things they don't like. They don't like overweight or too skinny. They don't like too tall or too short. They don't like too much or too little from others. They want you to be perfect and not have any flaws. But to the end, We all have flaws that most won't accept due to what society made them think what is ugly and what is not. To there, I am different from others. Something they do not like and do not want, due to me accepting all imperfections and thinking they are beautiful and perfect in my eyes. To what I think is gorgeous and handsome is what they hate, but they no longer stop my mind. They no longer control what I do. I will show them I am more, that me being different is not the end, but just getting started to what they hated in the beginning. To think.
Mother by Andy, Class of 2024, read by Elmer. What the future may hold no one knows, nor do they expect anything other than hoaxes and big ideas as to what it might be. But this is something that no one expected. The government tried their best, they really did, more or less. The citizens were left to fend for themselves as Mother Nature began her regaining what was truly hers. Perhaps that was all the pollution we created, or maybe the cruelty upon the animals that lived amongst us. No one knows why she was angry. No one knows how to make her happy. As the roots of 1,000-year-old trees sprung to life, contorting themselves around the skyscrapers that towered above, they tower no more. The dams that blocked the free flow of water, they blocked no more. And the factories pumping smoke like there was no tomorrow, they pumped no more. The cities that stood proud were taken by nature, the land that was stolen from the rightfully claimed, for she was angry in her wrath destroyed the creation of her beloved children without a second waste. What once was no more, what once they had no more. The humans cowered in fear as they were stranded by the people that were supposed to take care of them. The hate festering in Mother Nature grew day by day. She couldn't stand the children she once loved, couldn't make excuses for their harm anymore to her other children. She had gone wild. Half the population was depleted in less than a week, scavenging for food like their ancestors before they came. The new norm. It was hunter and gatherers again, save for the hunters. There were no hunting her children. People were dying day by day. All hope was lost, for the end of humanity was near. What was left of society cowered in makeshift shelters, scattered across the land, praying that she would not find them. For what is God if not her?
Emily here again. I hope you enjoyed these thrilling tales. I bet you didn't know how disturbing some of your fellow students are. Now before we sign off, we have an extra special treat to go with those tricks. The Cristo Rey Columbus Band and Choir have put together a medley of spooky tunes for your enjoyment. Let's hear. concludes the Cristo Rey podcast Halloween special. Special thanks to Miss Wise, who conducted the music classes, and to Miss Met, the advisor to Creative Writing Club. If you are interested in joining Creative Writing Club, stop by every other Tuesday right after school in room 209.
We'll be waiting for you. This is the podcast, Cristo Rey. I think that I was born to stuff my face with candy corn. This is the podcast, Cristo Rey. And if we all survive, I guess I'll see you on the podcast next week.